Those closest to Kamala Harris could hardly have imagined she'd be thrown at such speed and short notice into the race of her life. And yet the little girl from Oakland, California, who cut her political teeth in San Francisco, now has a chance of making history. The daughter of an Indian scientist and Jamaican academic turned the contest for the White House into one of the most consequential elections in living memory. Julie's in San Francisco, where her friends and supporters are holding their breath.
Raising their voices as the clock runs down. For the members of San Francisco's Third Baptist Church, there's just hope and prayer left for this election. A community rooted in the civil rights movement, Kamala Harris is one of their own. She's been coming here for 20 years, and the Reverend Dr. Amos Brown is her pastor.
Pray for our Vice President, Harris.
It was to him she turned when she decided to run.
The telephone rang, and she said, "My pastor," that's what she always calls me, "my pastor. I need you to pray for Doug, pray for me, and pray for this nation. I have decided to run for president."
What did you say to her?
Wow.
He'll be with the Harris team on election night, and he has a message for the nation.
I would say to America, grow up. You were enslaved to chauvinism, misogyny, racism, and materialism. So it's time for us to grow up, to be converted, and really be one nation.
We were out on our bikes, on skateboards, on roller skates. We were playing marbles.
Carol Porter is Kamala Harris's childhood friend. They played together on these streets in Oakland and rode the bus to one of California's first desegregated schools.
Potentially, I believe to be the first president, the first woman president, who happens to be Black and Asian, come from here is just, to me, stunning.
Carol supported Harris's ascent from district to attorney general, then to the Senate and vice presidency. Is this the moment Harris makes history?
She knows we're all here for her, and she knows that we'll continue to lift her up no matter what happens.
It's emotional for you.
It's very emotional. It's very personal, because we come from the same place. We come from the same families and value. I just know it's something that America, and I think the world, needs right now.
San Francisco has long been a Democrat fortress and crucible for key politicians, not least the towering figure of Nancy Pelosi, who persuaded Joe Biden to stand aside. But the progressive bastion is too much for some, and it has deep social problems, grappling with one of the highest rates of homelessness and the scourge of fentanyl addiction in plain view. For Trump and for Republicans here, it sounds a warning bell.
And I would say California and San Francisco, you could argue it's a petri dish or a ground in which bad ideas are tested. What we see here might start to happen across the country.
And it's not just the record of the Democratic Party and its impact on life in California, which Harris's critics point to.
Some have called out Kamala Harris for being part of the San Francisco elite. They point directly to some of the decisions she took here as district attorney and some of the laws she enacted when she was top prosecutor for the entire state.
After the killing of a young police officer, Isaac Espinosa, 20 years ago, she faced the wrath of the police union and many in her party when she refused to back the death penalty for the perpetrator. And there was a now infamous law on truancy to prosecute parents whose children missed school, which caused uproar and which she later said she regrets. A political character too liberal for some and too hardline for others. But just a few blocks away, in America's most liberal city, where they're celebrating queer Diwali, those for whom it's a haven here have only one candidate.
I know that this is a great melting pot of cultures. I know for South Asian people especially, it's been a refuge. I would say, having this meld of cultures is exactly what we need in office right now.
I would love to see a woman become the president. I come from a country which has already seen 2 women presidents and 1 female prime minister.
Across this vast, divided nation, there is now a choice between a West or an East Coast candidate, as far apart in their politics as their hometowns. America's tide of history awaits. Julie Etchingham, News at 10, San Francisco.